to do, and it ends up being totally different at the end, and certainly needs to be modified. So there are ways that, again, finding that organization or the type of service or product that you're interested in, and going through the side door, coming in with your motivation and your desire on top of some good technical skills, and you'll move very quickly that way. Okay, that would be the extension program, which is more of a certificate or type of a program. Yeah, some of their programs, I actually sit on the faculty council for educational outreach, so one of the things that we look at is, are there different levels of those programs, and quite frankly, the challenge is finding the right one that fits what your specific needs are. So some are truly designed for advanced and experienced, whatever that means, people to take those courses. So do spend a little more time with them, and I think they can probably find the right direction for you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes.
I was just curious how pervasive, well, first of all, I would like to know what the downtime or the amount of economic loss, if you will, regarding spam, and how pervasive it has become inside the phone company in terms of loss productivity, and also what, I mean, generally speaking, of course, what Boeing is trying to do. And I know in my organization, you know, I can go home on a Friday, and by Monday I'll have 35 out of 70 emails saying basically, you know, do this, you know, talking about junk. It would be nice to find a way to get rid of some of that. And I'm interested in what Boeing's doing about it.
Yeah, lately the spam is Rolex watches. Has anybody been getting Rolex watches spam?
Made out of real fool's gold.
Yeah, real fool's gold. You know, spam is a problem. It's a huge problem. Boeing addresses it in a multi-tiered approach, as we do all our security issues. No, there is never one solution to these threats at all, but it's not enough. And we work very intensely with developers of our programs that we do use to further enhance them. But spam is out of control. It's really out of control. We try to get the bulk of it through our two tools that we use, but it's just it's like viruses. It's a constant fight. One of the problems that we experienced, there was a big virus war earlier in the year, around February, and two virus writing groups were writing viruses that kept disabling the other person's virus, and so there was this big, huge war, and it was really out of control. But one thing that their viruses did, some of the variants, was that they turned machines, particularly home machines, into web proxy servers, and so those machines then now are being used to send out spam unknowingly. So home machines need, you know, you really need to confirm that your machine is running appropriate software and analyze it. But what that's done is it just has increased the spam problem just 100-fold. But you know, we're working the best we can. Spam can be very costly. I think that education is important, as in any threat, is trying to educate the end user of, you know, just delete it if it looks suspicious. Don't open it. But one of the problems now is spam. How often do you get spam where you open it up and it takes you directly to a website? Well, that website now can download backdoor Trojans on your machine, and those can be keyloggers, and they can now send out information. They're logging all the information, accounts and passwords that you're typing, and it's sending it off to the bad guys. So spam isn't just spam anymore. But, you know, it's costly for sure.
Yes, question in the back.
Server
So this is actually kind of a delicate issue in a lot of ways.
Right across the street over here, we have a company called 180 Solutions, which downloads through its people a program called MCase and several other ones onto people's computers that will then interrogate the computer and send their particular mainframe information which they may use for their purposes.
Yeah, so let me, there's a huge issue, and I think Jeanette will probably make a couple of comments about the balance between security and privacy. One of my other sidelines is trying to work with the intelligence analysis community that's looking at threat detection at a national level with some of the three-letter agencies that we all know and love in terms of the government. And so there's a relatively large national effort to do various forms of information analysis to try to determine what threats might be lurking out either in the ether or physically in terms of people invading our shores. But that has to be countered, and they're very concerned, the three-letter agencies, much to my surprise, are extremely concerned about personal privacy and not doing the types of things that certain invasion of privacy sorts of companies are doing without your permission. And so that's one of the situations that needs to have clear balance, both from a legislative perspective as well as various other forms of perspectives in terms of trying to keep that balance between threat and security and privacy. What's interesting is that we get numerous other forms of invasions of privacy. How many of you have had at least 15 calls from political candidates this year? How many of them have you wanted to have? It's an interesting comment in terms of how we have a society that will allow you to do things until it's legislated out. And as long as the door's open, I'd imagine that those companies will continue to be profitable, sending out spams, looking around, and you have to be vigilant, personally, okay, as well as trying to work with legislation that will protect your privacy.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. One point I wanted to make, though, about companies such as that is that some of those tools are used internally by our investigations for necessary investigation. So some of what they supply is really worthwhile. But again, what he stated about your responsibility, it's a challenge when we have all these home computers and there's not the knowledge base to protect them that probably should be there. And I'm really worried too, like about grandmas now with email. I think it's great grandmas have email now, but they're also probably the most naive people that are going to believe a lot of these scams. But and they're going to be the targets of privacy by exploiting their vulnerability and wiping out their bank accounts. I don't know. It's a challenge, you know, for sure.
Oh,
Well, I don't spy on you. But in any corporation worldwide, they're like cities, right? They're made up of a huge population, and it's Boeing's data, it's Microsoft's data. It's, you know, they own that data, and sometimes there are bad guys inside, and they need to be investigated.